Just gonna wait for this last photo here of the judges. Well, good afternoon. It's officially afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. We're going to be starting the Enter the Den finals. Welcome to everyone who's come, and we're going to have more people coming in and out throughout the whole competition. We're going to be having classes come in for about the first two presentations, and then they're all going to exit. We're going to have a small break, and then we're going to have more classes come in for the second two presentations. They're all going to exit, and then the final presenter gets to present all by themselves in an empty room. No, that's not what happens, but it'll be much quieter for the last presenter. This is the fourth annual Enter the Den business competition, business plan competition here for Thunder Bay High School students. And this is for all high school students in all Thunder Bay High Schools. Teachers and students work together to get their plans all organized. And then there's a preliminary competition, and then there's a semifinals, and now we are here at the finals. And without all of the high schools participating in this, we wouldn't be able to do this. So Thunder Bay Ventures says thank you for that, and we thank you for your participation. My name is Paul Wolf, and many years ago, I went to this high school, and I graduated in the fine year of 1990, and this is my yearbook right here. And I'd like to say that it's my yearbook, but it's actually not. It's my wife's yearbook. We graduated together in 1990, and I was too cheap to buy a yearbook, so I just married her in order to get it. No, that's not what happened. But I went through the graduating class, and I just highlighted all of the entrepreneurs just in the graduating class, and there's probably 30 people that own their own businesses in my graduating class. Entrepreneurs, people that come in and out. Now, there was about 200 or 200 plus of us. So it shows that entrepreneurs are not 100% common. They're sort of common, but not really super common. So if you have been bit by the entrepreneurial bug, then you sit in a class of your own. And that's why we have competitions like this, because we want to foster your enthusiasm for business, starting new business, and business ownership, because oftentimes, almost always, small businesses are the generators of wealth in our economy. Now, I'm going to be just going through some introductions for the next 8 minutes, and then a whole bunch of kids are going to come in. So let's get on with it. The Enter the Den High School Business Plan Competition is a project of Thunder Bay Ventures. Now, Thunder Bay Ventures is the Community Futures Development Corporation here in Thunder Bay. We are a lender to small businesses when the major banks have a difficult time justifying the entire loan. Oftentimes, Thunder Bay Ventures will come in and help with some bridge financing or some new project financing. This competition is patterned after Dragon's Den. We've called it Enter the Den. So we don't have Kevin O'Leary here, but we do have Barb Kortolinsky, and she'll be our judge to reckon with in this particular competition. None of our dragons breathe fire, just so you know. And the purpose of this competition is to celebrate entrepreneurial ideas, encourage high school students, and help them choose entrepreneurship as a career option. Now, we're here to provide our 5 finalists with the opportunity to give a 20-minute presentation, and we're going to hold you to that. So for those of you who have timed out your presentations, good for you. Other than that, we're going to make sure that we're watching you for the 20 minutes because we have to get through all of them. And then once the presentations have been given for 20 minutes, we're going to give the judges 10 minutes of time with each of the participants in order to ask questions and move through it. Now, each of these judges have experience of their own, and they're going to be sharing that with you, which is probably more than all of the prize money combined. That experience and that advice alone is probably the best thing you're going to get out of this competition. But we do have a first prize of $1,500, a second prize of $1,000, and a third prize of $500. As I mentioned, each presenter has 20 minutes. Judges have 10 minutes, and we'll be moving that along. Between the first and the second, between the second and the third, there's going to be a small break. Again, I mentioned that we're going to be moving a whole group of students in and out. And then during the judges' deliberations at the end, we're going to be having Phil Bistrican from Bistrican Apps. Did I pronounce your name right, Phil? Awesome. Now, Phil was our winner last year. He's going to come up and talk about his experience with Enter the Den and what's happened in his last year. Now, before we jump into the presentations, I'd like to thank our 2013 Enter the Den Steering Committee, who offer guidance and insight as we plan this competition each year. Johnny DeBaker is the chair, and he's a board member of Thunder Bay Ventures. Barb De Silva, Lori DeSemene, Miranda Moshowski, Terry Jorgensen, Wayne Fletcher, Jeffrey Jones, Gail Anderson, Barb Gauthier, Carolee Roussel, and Royden Potvin are the members of the steering committee. Now, most of them aren't here today, but we want to say thank you to those people. I want to take time right now to introduce our judges. It's going to take a couple minutes, and as I introduce you, if you want to come on up, I'm going to start with Laura Freilich. If you want to come up and we'll take a picture of you. Laura Freilich is a certified financial planner with Investors Group here in Thunder Bay, and she specializes in providing her clients with personalized approaches to financial planning. She is a past board member of PARO, which is a Center for Women's Enterprise, as well as the Lake Superior Discovery Place. She has worked tirelessly on numerous committees and initiatives here in Thunder Bay, and she brings with her today a passion for business and a love for supporting new entrepreneurs. Everybody say welcome to Laura Freilich, our judge, and thank you for joining us. Now, Barb Court-Elinsky, if you want to come on up. Barb is the president and CEO of Cobra Diamond Drilling and North Star Drilling Limited. She works in Thunder Bay and surrounding region, as well as having operations in the Dominican Republic. She is committed to hiring locally and advocates for First Nations training and education, and supports the local college in their education and training within the drilling industry. In 2012, Barb was named Northwestern Ontario's most influential woman, and she has received the RBC Northwestern Ontario Innovation Center's Hero of the Year Award. Welcome, Barb. Nathan Lawrence. Nathan holds a Bachelor of Commerce degree from Lakehead University and works as a licensed mortgage agent through Dominion Lending Centers. Nathan also served as the director of the board of Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce and is president of SHIFT, Thunder Bay's Young Professional Network. As president of SHIFT, Nathan has supported young professionals throughout Thunder Bay by providing them with professional development, networking, and mentorship opportunities, as well as encouraging them to give back and be engaged in the community. So thank you for joining us, Nathan. Stephanie Ash. Stephanie Ash is the CEO of Firedog Communications in Thunder Bay and has worked for leading public relations agencies in France, England, and Australia. In 2005, Stephanie was named one of Canada's top 10 marketing professionals in the Ones to Watch Awards by Canadian Marketing Magazine. She is also a winner of the Influential Women of Northern Ontario Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award by Northern Ontario Business Magazine, as well as the Northwestern Ontario Aboriginal Achievement Award for Career Guidance, Northwestern Ontario Innovation Awards, Top 40 Under 40, and PARO Business Excellence Award. Stephanie volunteers on several boards of directors, including the Northern Ontario Angels, which she connects with entrepreneurs in high growth and potential business, with high growth in their potential businesses. Welcome, Stephanie. And our final judge is Chris Innes. Chris is a small business advisor at TD Canada Trust. He first entered the business world at the age of 5, selling in the parental subsidized cutthroat business of pumpkin selling. Following this, he started a business selling ice cream, going head-to-head with a national brand. From his bicycle, registered his business and all of that. Later in life, Chris continued his entrepreneurial ways by running a painting franchise where he reached first place in rookie sales and marketing. He managed 12 staff and set sales records. He attended University of Western Ontario and has lived in Nunavut, the U.S., and Denmark. And we want to say thank you to Chris for joining us as a judge. So thank you to all of our judges. And I think we're going to get a photo here. Have we got a photo? We're good. I think we're good. Okay, thanks. Did we not get it? Okay, we're good. Thanks, folks. Okay. There you go. We've got maybe 4 minutes, 3 minutes? Okay. So right now we've got a small gap in the program while we wait for some of our audience to arrive. We've got a few students coming in. So at this time I'm just going to get Gregory Sanders to just come on up and wait in the wings here while you get organized. Anybody want to hear a story? Story time. There you go. Okay, so business, small business. My first business was book publishing. I decided I wanted to write a story about my best friend, and I didn't have any money, but I wanted to write the story. So my mom suggested I go to my stepdad and ask for $10 to put together all of the information, all of the paper, and he was going to be my publisher. And so as the publisher, I borrowed $5 from him. And I put together all the paper and I wrote the story and I printed it all out by hand because this was back in 1938. And I printed it all out by hand and then I stapled it all together and then I sold it to my mom for $5 and paid my stepdad back. So that was my first realization of how business worked, that I made actually nothing on the whole deal. But I was able to go and get credit, create a product, sell the product, pay off my debts, and got experience, because that's what my mom said was the most important thing. Later on, I did, what was my next business venture? Well, one of my favorite ones. Do you all know what a rickshaw is? A rickshaw, you basically run in front of a two-wheeled carriage, correct? Now, a pedicab is a rickshaw with a bicycle on the front. I owned 2 of those when I was 22 years old, and again, I went to a source and I borrowed, I think it was $25,000 in order to buy 2 rickshaws. And we ran this business in Regina, Saskatchewan during the summer between my first and second year of university. And I did my business plan. I thought I was so clever. I did my business plan, did all my cash flow projections, and then it was the wettest summer in Regina's history. And no one wanted to ride in a pedicab that summer. And I made enough money to break even. My second business, I broke even again. But I thought to myself, I want to just break even again the next year? So I sold the pedicabs down to a place called Ocracoke, North Carolina, and one to Baltimore, Maryland. And I managed to pay off almost all of my debts. But essentially, I kind of ended up losing about $15,000 on that first business. That was my second business venture. Oh, and here come the students. Here they come. Come on in. My third business venture, let me see, because I've been in and out of entrepreneurship, and I think you'll notice that many entrepreneurs are like this. They go into it, actually very similar to some of our judges. They go into it, and then they come out of it, and then they go into it, and they come out of it. My third business venture was publishing again, and I published a little booklet of information on financial planning and organizing your finances. This was back in 2006. And that one was successful. Managed to sell that little brand off, and now it's dead. So sometimes the person who buys your brand can't run your business. And right now I'm working for an accounting and consulting firm called BDO, and I work with entrepreneurs right across Northern Ontario and Manitoba. And my primary role is helping them navigate the scientific and experimental development tax credit program. So I basically go in and find out some of the coolest things that are happening in Northern Ontario and Manitoba, and then we get government money back because they're doing things that have never been done before. So I get to meet with some very entrepreneurial, creative people. How are things? 1 minute? Okay, so 1 minute from now, we will go whether students are coming in or not. Hi, welcome, folks. How are you? You've come to enter the den, which is like Dragon's Den. So you have to just be an audience and cheer for our team. Come on in, folks. We're all good to go? All right. Well, for those of you who have just come in, we're going to see two presentations during the time you're here. These are 20-minute business presentations put on by students from local high schools in a competition called Enter the Den. And our first presenter is Gregory Sanders, representing St. Patrick High School, and his business is called What's Your Beef? So welcome Gregory Sanders for his business presentation. Come on in.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. My name's Greg Sanders, and I'm the owner and operator of What's Your Beef in Atikokan. Just before I get my presentation started, I wanted to thank a couple people. First of all, the judges, thank you guys for putting your time and effort into this. I'm sure that you guys are extremely busy. I want to thank the Thunder Bay Venture Center, Kara Lee, and Roden Potvin for putting this together. I want to thank the sponsors for putting up the prize money and for the awesome duffel bag full of stuff that I got. I'd like to thank the Thunder Bay Summer Company program for all the money that they gave me starting up my business 3 years ago now. And finally, I'd like to thank my parents for all the help and encouragement that they've given me over the past 3 years. So my business is What's Your Beef? I make beef jerky. Before I talk about my marketing and my financials, I think it's important that you guys get acquainted with my product. So I want to talk about how I make it. My process has 4 steps. The first includes purchasing and curing the meat. So the meat is purchased from a local grocery store. It's trimmed and cured. This takes between 2 and 3 hours. Step 2 is refrigerating and cooking my jerky. The meat, after being cured for 24 hours, is cooked in a standard oven. It's then cooled, weighed, and packaged and sent to my distributors. So my distribution could be either $5 packages, like the one that the judges have in front of them, or it could be packaged in 10-kilogram packages for other customers. I'd like to talk about my marketing. It just tastes good is a slogan that I've adopted in the last couple of years. I think that it just tastes good is really something that explains what my product is like. It's not good for you and it's expensive, but it tastes good. It's like a chocolate bar. The difference between my product and a chocolate bar and lots of other home-based businesses is that you can eat one package of this and run for it on 6 hours. You can work on it for a long time. The current marketing is pretty limited. It's mostly just trade shows and word of mouth. But in the near future, I'd like to see increased trade show and farmers market exposure, including targeted Facebook ads to people who like hunting and fishing, and more conventional ads like newspaper spots. So I think before I talk about how I want to increase sales, I think it's important that I talk about my current sales and the difference between my current sales. So one of the areas that I've targeted in my business where I'd like to increase sales, and I think it'd be an easy spot to increase sales, is with trade shows. So in a typical trade show setting, I've experienced sales in the $1,800 a day range. Typically, 35 to 50% of my potential customers will buy, and in a normal Atikokan and Northwestern Ontario trade show setting, 10 to 15% of people are potential customers. In a retail setting, however, these numbers are much lower because the face-to-face aspect isn't there. I find that when I talk to somebody and I look at them and I say, this is why you need my product, try it, then most people buy it. So in a store, that number is much lower. And so this is why I think that increasing trade show revenue is a really good way to bring up my sales. One of the things, and if you wouldn't mind, the judges wouldn't mind looking at my product, one of the things that I've found that's really helped in my business is a toothpick. It's cheap, it's unique, and it's functional. The thing behind the toothpick is, I don't know if you guys have ever had beef jerky. Of course you've had beef jerky. Who doesn't like beef jerky, right? You're sitting there, and you get it in your teeth, and you can't get it out. So you work at it with your tongue, and you still can't get it out. And so I was sitting there one day, and this was happening to me, and I said, well, how do I get this out of my teeth? And I looked over, and my dad was sitting there using a toothpick, and I thought, well, that's perfect. What's a toothpick cost? Nothing. So I stapled it on the outside of my bag, and now every time that somebody walks into a store looking for a bag of jerky, the first thing that they see is this toothpick on the front of my bag, and that sets it apart from every other bag of jerky that's sitting on the shelf. Another aspect of my marketing that I didn't really plan, but that has been great, is the press exposure. So my business has been featured in the Atikokan Progress, which is the Atikokan newspaper, the Chronicle Journal, the Shift newsletter, as well as CKPR Radio. I've been nominated twice for Entrepreneur of the Year, which is one of the categories of the annual awards given out by the Atikokan Chamber of Commerce. Although this isn't a consistent marketing strategy, it's something that's worked for me, and it's something that I've really got a lot of direct sales from, I feel. And just for the judges, if you'll note, the articles can be found at the end of my business plan. So, oh, I missed a slide. No? Yeah, okay, there. So I want to take the time now to talk about the financials. So I'm going to talk about my financial outlook for between 2013 and 2015. In the coming years, I want to focus on increasing industrial orders, and I'll talk about why after. And I would also like to expand into the Thunder Bay market. So if you'll take a look, this graph shows my projected gross and net profits over the next 24 months. If you'll note, the values shown are monthly sales times 12. I thought that showed growth much easier than particular monthly sales. So I want to talk about why increasing industrial orders as well as trade show orders are a good way to increase my sales. Industrial orders are cheaper to package and label, and so therefore they're preferable to normal sales. Currently, my industrial orders are worth $500 a month, and about 55% of that number is net profit. In the future, I'd like to see this number grow by 20% per year. Finally, I'd like to break into the Thunder Bay market. In the past, one store in the Thunder Bay market has carried my product. This has been a mistake, but I'll talk about that afterwards. In the near future, I plan to attend more farmers market type events to increase product recognition. In the more distant future, I would like to see 2 to 3 stores carry my product, preferably corner stores, and those which carry high budget locally made products. So I did have a store between Atikokan and Thunder Bay that carried my product. The most important thing I think about a business is earning a profit. The second thing is to learn from your mistakes in order to earn a higher profit. The store I selected was a mistake. A combination of extremely high retail margins, poor packaging, and pricing resulted in poor sales. After this mistake, I realized what happened. The product packaging was made more recognizable. I turned the card blue, and I put the toothpick on the outside. And I changed it so that it looked like there was more jerky in the bags, as well as reducing the cost of the jerky. It's the same way that sandwiches are folded. The meat in sandwiches is folded to make it look like there's more ham in them. The next thing I wanted to talk about is my actual batch of jerky. The average batch sells for about $115. Of that, the following are expenses. Meat is $41, seasoning is $4.50, labeling and packaging can cost up to $18.25, and then my equipment breaks, and so that's what that figure is. So my net profit from one batch of jerky before I pay myself is $55.40. I just wanted to note that these values can change depending on who my customer is. So my 2013 projected gross profit is $8,200. To make $8,200, I have to sell 75 batches, which is 6.2 batches per month. So one thing that's difficult to predict in any meat business is the meat content. It's difficult to put a price point on a piece of jerky because every piece of jerky is different. Just like every person's meat is different, so are cows. Different muscle and fat content mean that every batch, every piece of jerky is different. Fat melts off muscle at cooking temperature, and the result is that 10 pounds of batch A may cook down to 4.8 pounds, whereas 10 pounds of batch B may cook down to 4.6 pounds. This means it's very difficult to find a consistent expense point to put on a pound of jerky. So the price that I have today is an average of a long series of jerky weights. I want to talk about my objectives. In the short term, I'd like to identify how to better serve my customers, including further demographic studies. I'd like to enter the Thunder Bay market by way of trade shows and farmers markets. I'd like to maintain the 20% growth rate that I've enjoyed over the last 3 years. I'd like to build on existing local and regional partnerships to help meet my 20% growth goal. And finally, I'd like to increase industrial sales. In the long term, I'd like to build on these objectives by maintaining the 20% growth levels that I've seen throughout my business. I'd like to build on relationships built at Thunder Bay and area trade shows and farmers markets to secure retail outlets to distribute What's Your Beef jerky. I'd like to increase production levels and profit margins by upgrading facilities, which could potentially include hiring an additional staff member during peak season and at trade shows. I'd like to talk about my products now. So what the judges have in front of them is just my standard original jerky. It's packaged in 80-gram vacuum-sealed bags, and that's what I sell in my stores. It's always the same taste, thickness, and texture. It's peppery. And it's the thing about that jerky, though, is that it's always thicker than its competitors. Western Beef also offers specialty products, which means people bring me specialty cuts of meat or specialty types of meat, and I can change the flavor, I can change the cooking time, I can change anything that the customer wants about it. One time, a guy called me up and said, "Can I get you to make some jerky for me?" I said, "Sure, how much do you want?" He said, "Well, I want you to use my meat." And I said, "Sure, that's fine." So he came over and he brought a little white Tupperware container. And inside this Tupperware container, he opened it up and it was a deer heart. And so I made that into jerky. I want to talk about my customers and my market. My average customer is male, between the ages of 25 and 65. He spends a lot of time outdoors, particularly hunting and fishing, and he makes between $20,000 and $60,000 a year. Finally, my market. I just wanted to talk about my competitors. I have very few or no competitors in Atikokan. There's an elk farm, which is different than beef jerky, that produces jerky in Dryden. There are many beef jerky producers in Thunder Bay. I do have some competitive advantages, though. I'm young. This especially plays well at trade shows. People often wander over to hear about my product, but to see, people don't often, okay, I'm going to try this one more time. People often wander over not to hear about my product, but to see what a young guy like me is selling, and then I can hook them in. My jerky is thicker than all of my competition in the region that I've run across anyways, which is a huge advantage, especially with people who want some nourishment, not just something that tastes good. Finally, my price is slightly lower than the retail price of my biggest customer in the Atikokan market. Oh, there we go. Okay, thank you. If there were any questions about my presentation or if there were any questions about my business plan, I'd be happy to take them now.
So you said that you sourced your beef from the grocery store. What kind of future do you see getting your beef? Because you talked about how it's important to have a local product. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So far, it's been economically feasible to have a local product. In the future, depending on how high my sales go, I might look into sourcing beef from some of the regional farms, particularly around Fort Francis, to buy in a more bulk way in order to reduce expenses.
So the beef that you're buying from the grocery store now is local?
Locally bought.
Locally bought. Okay.
I buy it locally.
Okay.
Yeah. I would assume that they buy it regionally, though. Yes, maybe.
Okay, so you do have plans to perhaps make things larger purchase from the Castle area?
Yes.
Would you ever get into taking cows to the abattoir or having...
Excuse me, I didn't hear.
Would you ever get into purchasing whole cows or...
That opens up a whole new problem because butchering the meat is an entirely different safety concern or health concern than what I have, what I'm set up and what I've been inspected for. So that would be something that I would have to look at far down the road. I would have to hire a butcher, have the butchering premises inspected, have the meat inspected afterwards. It would really change the scope of how I source my meat.
Hi there. I'd like to ask you a question related to your marketing and sales strategy.
Sure.
So if I run into you at a trade show and I got a sample of your product, say you're in Thunder Bay doing a trade show, and I love the taste of it.
Thank you.
How do I find out then how I can purchase this product from you the next time? Because if I don't see you again in a trade show, where do I go to? Like, do you advertise that on your packaging? Is there a website that I can go to find out where your products are sold? So how do you keep me as a customer, as a repeat customer?
Sure. If you'll notice on the front of my package, that blue business card, if you'll flip it over, it's actually also the nutritional label. But the reason why the business card isn't printed on the package or stuck on the package, it's just stapled, is so that people can pull it off and put it on their fridge or put it on your bulletin board, so that next time you want some, you can buy it. Also, at trade shows, I always have a pocket full of business cards, so I hand them out. The reason I don't have a website is because I was worried about growth. I was worried that if I got a $100,000 order from somebody, I would never be able to fill that. I mean, I'm a one-guy operation, so that's why I don't have a website.
Okay, thank you.
Question with respect to your plans going forward. In your business plan, you mentioned that you'd like to maintain a 20% growth over the next few years. Being a one-person operation, how do you plan to handle the distribution of the product to Thunder Bay or some of the other communities if you're trying to balance everything else in terms of manufacturing and transporting it up here to make sure that you're maintaining consistency and quality in terms of your offering to your clients?
Sure. The way that I'm mainly looking to increase my product sales are through industrial orders and trade shows. So industrial orders are easy because they're shipped from my house to a mine or a power plant or a mill, whatever it might be. And with trade shows, I carry a big bucket with me, and I sell what I can in the day. And then if I get more orders, then I either ship it depending on what the customer wants, or if there's enough, make a drive up here.
I congratulate you on the very creative presentation up there. I was enjoying it,
Thank you.
the graphics and the presentation. My question is about risk management. So you're dealing with food and you've been certified and inspected. And I noticed on your label you have the batch and the date. What have you done to counteract the risk that you might face if you had a failure of one of your batches or somebody had a complaint?
Sure. When I first set up my business, I took a food handling safety course, so I'm certified in that. The meat is always cooked at a very low temperature for a very long time to ensure that it's cooked all the way through and I never have raw meat in the middle. I always sample it before I send it out so that I know not only that it tastes good, but also that it was cooked properly and that it's going to be safe for somebody to eat. The Northwestern Health Unit makes frequent random visits to my production premises. They're always cleaned down afterwards with a cleaner. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, excuse me, if I could just address one more thing.
Yeah.
The vacuum packaging also is another safety feature that I have, so that if it sits on a store shelf for 3 weeks, which rarely happens, then it's not going to go bad.
Oh, that was another question. Yeah.
I've got one more question.
Sure.
How do you come up with your target demographic?
The target demographic is mainly through trade show sales. When people walk up to me, or when I walk up to people walking by and say, would you like to buy this jerky? What I've noticed is that the vast majority of people that buy the jerky, or that people that buy the jerky for another person, buy for my target demographic. Is that it? Okay, thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, folks. This is the Enter the Den contest. It's open to all high school students in Thunder Bay, and it's a business plan competition where the first prize is $1,500 to go towards your business. Second prize is $1,000, and third prize is $500. All 5 participants get the opportunity to have their business plans evaluated and critiqued by successful business professionals here in the community, which we believe is an essential part of helping them become successful in their future business endeavors. We're thankful that you folks have come to see what's going on here. You just saw Greg Sanders present. For those of you who came in halfway through, he is a St. Patrick's High School student, and his business is called What's Your Beef? Right now, we are going to invite up Mac Lockyer. And Mac is from Churchill High School, and his business is called Rink in a Blink. So, welcome, Mac Lockyer.
Hello. Okay, so my business idea is Rink in a Blink, and we build and maintain customized outdoor ice rinks. Okay, what we do, we build fully customizable outdoor ice rinks. We construct and maintain the ice all year round. We provide snow removal, and at the end of the year, we disassemble and provide summer storage. In Canada, there are over 570,000 kids 19 and under that play hockey. We can advertise this company to these people that rink building is harsh, it's cold, and it requires time, and it requires lots of expertise. We can do this on Facebook, Twitter. We can do this in hockey tournaments, sponsors, and also commercials. So what we have are packages. We have the small package, the medium, the large, and the extra large. Smalls are about 20 feet wide and 35 feet long. Mediums are 25 feet wide, 40 feet long. Larges are 30 feet wide, 50 feet long, and extra large is anything larger than a large. Each package includes the base, the boards, the plastic liner, the netting above the boards, the ice building, and 5 maintenance floods. A small costs $775, a medium $1,035, a large costs $1,300, and an extra large is about $1,550 and up. Customization options. So if you don't want to buy a full package, you can also customize your rink to meet your needs. So you can get just the base, or to get the boards you need the base, netting you need boards, and the plastic liner you need just the base. Ice maintenance costs $15 per flood, and snow removal or ice maintenance is $15 for a small, $20 for a medium, and $25 for a large. Snow removal is $20 for a small, $25 for a medium, and $30 for a large. Disassembly and summer storage costs $250 for a small, $275 for a medium, and $300 for a large. Second year packages. So these packages are available to returning customers who have already purchased a rink or have their own rink that they've had from previous years. These packages includes the assembly of the rink, the construction, and 5 maintenance floods. Startup costs and overhead. Startup marketing materials cost about $200. A cell phone would cost around $35 per month, and office supplies will range around $100. Budgeting costs. Garbage cans, which will be used to transport the water to the site, cost about $20 per. Fuel and mileage will pay 47 cents per kilometers to my employees. Labor is $15 per man hour. And the 2x10s cost $20, and those are used for the base. The 2x4s, which are used to support the boards, cost $6. The plywood, which are used for the boards, cost $24. The hex wire netting, which is used for the netting above the boards, costs $37. And the plastic liner, which is used to hold the water, costs $228. Previously acquired equipment. So we already have a trailer, a snowblower, brooms, and shovels. Projected finances for the first year. In the first year, we projected to sell around 10 rinks, which 5 would be small, 3 medium, and 2 large. This will give us around $11,710. For material and labor costs, it costs $5,000 It costs $5,665 in total, which would give us a projected profits of $6,045. And that's all.
Hi, Mac. I just want to say I love your idea.
Thank you.
I already talked to the stalls. There's a few things that transportation.
Mm-hmm.
You said you're going to pay your employees 47 cents a kilometer.
Yes.
Trust me, owning a business, they won't use their vehicles.
No?
So you have to prepare for that.
Okay.
That's just one of the things. Again, you have to grow your business. So the first year you think you're going to do so many rinks. The advertising for Facebook is great. You got to go to shows. You got to do things like that. The outdoor show, it takes a lot of work. But it's a wonderful idea, and good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, Mac. Congratulations again on your idea. I think it's a great way to use where we live and see something creative come out of what we have around us. I have a question for you related to your marketing strategy. You mentioned using Facebook and that young people are a target audience for you. But when I look at your numbers and the cost of having one of these rinks installed, for me, the market that you really need to go to is the parents directly, because those are the ones with the cash, right? The dollars to spend. So you certainly, it's great to target the young people so they can put the pressure on their parents to say, wouldn't this be great if we could have this? But certainly my recommendation for you is to really target the parents, and the best way to do that is to go yourself directly, face to face, go to hockey tournaments, go to where kids are playing hockey, and just go around with your brochures and speak with parents directly. And don't spend a lot of dollars that you probably don't have in the early days trying to advertise and reach parents in a more sophisticated way. I really believe that that direct face-to-face selling is really the best way to go for you, okay? So get yourself out there and get networking and talking up your product, because I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
Mac, I have a quick comment and then a question. I love the idea as well. One of the things that I would probably recommend that you also pay a little bit of attention to is that you've got a great package here put together for building and constructing the rinks themselves and maintaining them. But don't forget that there's a lot of households that may already have the infrastructure. So there's the ability here to do an a la carte service where you can just do maintenance as opposed to just focusing on your high cost components, which is actually building the rink as well. So snow removal, doing the flooding for families that just might not be bothered or just don't have the time to do it. So that's something that is low cost to you that you can focus on and expand.
Yeah.
That I think would be a good fit.
And that's where the customization options come into hand. You can, if you already have a rink and you can build it, you can just get the maintenance floods or the ice building if you want.
Perfect. So you've thought that through. Quick question about one of the options that you have, which is the storage component. I don't know that you went too much into where would the items be stored. Where would you be storing those rinks that you've taken down? How would you look after security of that material, making sure no damage happened or theft? Have you gone through that process?
Right. Well, I was gonna store it in my shed in my backyard, which has a lock on it. So.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks, Mac. I also like your idea, and I really like your logo. I like the snowflake and the reflection on the ice. That gets me.
Thank you.
I was thinking a bit more of your marketing as well. You mentioned, harsh conditions, and you've done an excellent job laying out the price structures and your input, so that's very well thought out. My suggestion would be to create more of a buzz. So you've already got some great marketing feedback, but backyard hockey rinks are a Canadian tradition, and it conjures up, toques and scarves and blades and hot chocolate and all that stuff. So in your marketing material, you've done a great job of the intro. So I'd warm it up a little bit. I would always tell a story and get people just feeling the flavor to make them part with those dollars.
Okay.
I've got a question and a comment for you as well. With the snow removal and the ice maintenance, are a lot of people going to need that all at the same time? Like, how are you going to manage the logistics of, if it's a huge snowstorm, how do you get everyone's rink done?
Right. Well, ice maintenance takes around half an hour for a small and an hour for a large and a medium. So we can do those pretty quickly. And snow removal is even quicker. So we can do a lot of rinks in one day.
Okay. And second, how do these things look when they're done? Because if you just have kind of plywood around, it's not that beautiful. Have you thought of making it look like a real ice rink with logos or anything? Or is there maybe a chance to make some money through sponsorship to have logos put on?
Right. I've built a rink for myself for many years, and they're not ugly, but yeah, putting sponsors on them, that's a good idea. I never thought of that.
So, but they do look okay in the backyard? Like if I have
Yeah,
a pretty nice place,
they look,
it's going to be okay?
Yes, they look good.
Just give us an idea.
Hi, Mike. I have one last question for you too. What have you done or thought about with respect to your liability and insurance when you're operating your business?
Yeah, I haven't really thought of that one, but it's something to consider.
Just one of the things I thought about when you mentioned people driving for you, because if they do get into vehicle collisions and things like that, and they're working for you, it will be an issue for you to
Right.
consider too. Okay.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Is that it?
Great job.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for that presentation. For those of you, this period ends at 2:12, so we have enough time for one more presentation. We probably actually won't get into the questions until this audience files out, and then we'll do the questions after. But we have until about 2:12, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to call up Lexi Engberg from Superior High School to tell us about her business, the Lazy Camper Grill. So Lexi, come on up and tell us about your business.
Hi, I'm Lexi Ingberg, and I go to Superior CVI, as you all know now. I had an interest in starting my own business once I worked for a local campground and convenience store in Pass Lake. So I came up with the idea called the Lazy Camper Grill, and it's a burger shack, but it has a little bit of a twist, and all the main ingredients would be local, so the beef and all the produce would be local, as well as we'd sell ice cream. And it'd be a really big thing because it's new. It's the new thing to like eat local and to eat healthy, and also the 100-mile diet is one of those big things now, eating within a really small proximity. And it'd be even smaller than the 100-mile diet because it'd be within past the lake and then kind of near Blues Farm area. So me and my dad would be the co-owners, and we would profit share all of the money that we would make out of it. And this starting up cost would come from our pockets and our savings. So it would be located just outside the Sleeping Giant boundaries, and we'd be set up in a building just outside of it. As you can see in the picture, it'd be set up in that turnaround area, but there'd be no snow because we'd be open during the summertime. And it goes way farther back, so there's lots of room to like turn around campers and to park vehicles and everything. And then you can see in the middle picture, there's like that sign up, so we're literally like 100 meters away from the park border. So there's like tons and tons of potential customers. We'd have picnic tables to be able to sit down and eat, or you could grab your food and go. So the target market would be people who are going to the Sleeping Giant, so that's hikers, campers, people that are going out there for events, and as well as people that are going and camping in their cottages up in Squaw Bay, Silver Islet, and then the other areas around Pass Lake. And we'd also be targeting the local people of Pass Lake. Our main target market will be going out during the summertime, so we'd open up in June and we'd close in September. During the months of June and September, we'd only be open for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because school's still going on, people are still working, so people only come out during the weekends to go camping. And then during July and August, we would be open 7 days a week, and then we'd be open from lunch till supper time. And for the summer months, we'd hire people to help us out. So me and my dad would be working one day each, and then we'd just have one of our employees work with us. So it'd be 2 people working at all times during the summer. So these are the stats of people that are going out to the Sleeping Giant Provincial Park. In 2010, 53,836 people went out there. In 2011, 58,704 people, and then 2012, 60,750 people. So that's like a huge number of people that are just going out to Sleeping Giant alone, and like it's crazy because it's like a huge number of potential customers, and lots of these people that are going out there will be going out during the months of June to September because the park opens up May long, and then closes in I think late October or late September. So how people would find out about our business, we would advertise on the radio, the Giant, because they also advertise for all the other events that are going on at the Giant, the Sleeping Giant. We'd also use the Walleye, which is the local magazine of Thunder Bay, advertising all the local businesses and the local events that are going on. As well, Park Ontario, they have people that they partner up with businesses, and we tried getting on there so they could advertise us when people are looking through Parks Ontario and looking at the Sleeping Giant, so then they can see that we are located out there. And then I did a survey in my school of how the majority of people find out about things today, and that's through word of mouth. So it's really about just getting the word out there that we're out in Pass Lake and just letting everyone know that we are there. So sourcing the food, the majority of our produce would come from Sleepy G's Farms, and that's in Pass Lake. It's about 10 minutes from where we'd be located, and we would get our lettuce from there and our green onions and our cucumbers. We'd have to go with green onions instead of your normal like red onions because green onions, they have a shorter, they'll be ready in time for when we open, but red onions, they have a late growing season, so they're not actually ready till the end of the season, so it wouldn't do good for us because we'd be closed. And then for cucumbers, we'd have to get them pickled the season before, so we'd bring them to a lady in Pass Lake who'd do all the pickling for us. And then our next food sourcer is Blues Farms. We'd have to go to Blues for the tomatoes because, again, tomatoes have a late growing season, so we'd have to go to Blues to get them from their greenhouses because they grow their tomatoes in greenhouses, so they'd actually be ready for us on time to serve to the customers. We'd get our beef from Jimmy Ingberg. He has a beef farm in Pass Lake, and we'd get all of our beef from there. And then from there, we'd bring it to an abattoir, which would do our killing and our cutting, and then also they'd make the patties for us to ensure that they're safe to eat. For our buns, we get them from 5 Star Bakery, which is a local bakery in Thunder Bay. And then we'd get our cheese from Thunder Oaks Farm, which is the cheese farm in Thunder Bay. For our ice cream, we would buy it from Canada's Wholesale Club because there's no actual place in Thunder Bay to buy local ice cream. So we just go there because you can buy the big tubs from there for a good price. So this is the burger breakdown cost. For the bun, the patties, lettuce, tomatoes, onions, cheese, pickles, and the condiments on the burger comes to a total cost to make of $3.56. And then, so it's $3.56 to make, and we'd sell it at $6, making a $2.44 profit on it. The fries, we'd sell at $3, and we'd make $1.70 in profit. Pop and water, we'd sell at $1, making a 58 cents profit. And at ice cream, we'd sell at $2 for $1.65 profit. So this is our menu. There's menus over in the corner if you want to look at them. So the burger, it would be $6. The fries would be $3, pop and water $1, and then the combo would be $9. It's burger, fries, and a drink. So you'd get your drink free. And then ice cream would be at $2, and we'd be serving it in like a waffle cone, and it'd just be one price for it, and you'd get like 2 scoops. So expanding, we'd like to expand our menu after we would be open for a while into expanding into camping supplies, because our main target market are campers. So we'd sell like firewood and ice at competitive prices, and we would also like to expand our menu into selling fish, like local fish for fish and chips, and to sell chicken, because I did another survey at my school and lots of people said they'd like to see chicken on the menu. So like chicken burgers and then chicken fingers as well. But the only problem is in Northwestern Ontario there is no poultry inspector, so you can't actually get local chicken. So until then we can't actually expand into that. The main thing about this is there's no competition with us. In Past Lake, there is no other place out there that sells burgers, fries, and ice cream. So we'd have we'd have lots and lots of customers, and that's the main thing. Like when you're coming back from camping for the weekend, you want to eat a good burger, so you come to our business and get a burger, as well as ice cream, because the campground in Past Lake, as well as the truck stop, they used to sell ice cream. And it used to be a huge hit, like lots of people would come in, but now they no longer sell it, so you can't actually get scooped ice cream anymore in Past Lake, so it'd be good to bring it back because I know lots of people look for it when they go out there. So for the financials part of this, the startup costs come to $12,000 or $12,074. To figure out the potential customers we'd be selling to, we took the 60,000 customers, we rounded down the people going out to the park to 60,000, and then we took that number and we thought, well, 30% of that would be a good aim of customers to sell to, and then we divided that by 4 because there's 4 months in our opening when we're open, and then we divided that by 4 again because 4 weeks in a month, and then divided by 7 to figure out how many people would be coming on a daily basis. And then that comes to like 160-ish people, but we rounded it down to 150. But this was before we were selling our ice cream. So then once we decided that we'd sell ice cream too, we thought, well, tons of more, this opens the customers up to way more people. So we times that by 50% to equal out to 225 customers per day coming to our business. And then during the June and September, we narrowed it down to 75 people, just because there isn't as many people traveling out in those months. There still is lots of people, but obviously it wouldn't be as much as the people during the summer. So then to figure out our average check that we get every day, we just took about the total amount of food we'd be selling divided by the sum of it, which came out to like $7.66 per average check we'd be getting. So the daily gross profit in June and September, we'd be getting $268 on a daily basis, and then $805 weekly. And then for July and August, we'd be getting $805 daily, and that's $5,638 weekly, but after you add in the operating costs, it comes down to, in June and September, we'd be on a weekly basis be getting $534.50 in profit, and then monthly we'd be getting $2,138, and this is in our like slow month, right? And then in July and August, on a weekly basis, we'd be making $4,804, and then monthly $19,218. So this is our net profit for a 2-year span that we'd be open. So year one would actually be in the negatives after you take away the startup costs. So we would be in debt. Well, we wouldn't actually be in debt since we used our own money to start it. To actually get back our money, though, we'd be technically in debt $11,000 into $11,206 for the first year. But then in July, we'd make our money back because the break point ends up being that we'd be taking our startup costs and then divided by the average check that we'd be getting, and it comes out to we'd have to sell to 1,576 people to get start making our money back, and then from that money we would be just me and my dad would be profit sharing that money. So for 2 years of having our business opening, after taxes, after operating expenses, after paying people their wages and everything, we'd be making $48,951, and that money me and my dad would share it. So that's how much that would work. And that's the Lazy Camper Girl, and that's where we do the cooking for you. And that concludes my business idea.
You know, I think we have a few minutes for questions, so if you do want to just wait around until the bell rings, I think we'll bring our presenter back up and we'll begin with questions. So hold on a moment. Gotta find it.
Yeah, no.
I'm starving. We could use samples of the ice cream to try today. Oh, it would have been good.
Need one of those for burgers.
It's so
Yeah, so we'll have about 10 minutes or so for questions. So come on up.
I do too.
Yeah. Okay. You're gonna have that last one, or?
You can have it.
Hi, Lexi. First of all, congratulations on your business idea. I think that you've really identified a niche market and a gap. I know I've been out in that area many times with my family and had starving children in the car, so I think you've really identified an opportunity there. My question is really a comment for you related to your financials. Your startup costs, your capital costs, for me, seem high. And one of the things that I would suggest is to not go brand new when you start your business. When I started my own business, I spent a lot of money on capital costs that really became a burden to the business in the first year or two. So don't be afraid to go secondhand for your capital equipment and to try and reduce those costs. And the second piece is then on your monthly operating. Don't be shy there. So usually through my experience, you underestimate the monthly operating costs and you overestimate on the startup capital costs. So just to kind of balance those and be frugal in what you invest in the outset. And then I guess the last comment is related to your comment about being in debt. Even if it's your own money, you're still in debt to yourself. So, never wipe that out in your mind. It's debt, and to look at it that way. Okay, but good luck. I think you've got a great opportunity there with this business.
Thank you.
I've got a question. In your financials, you don't have anything for land leasing. Did you talk to the park about it? What's the cost there?
It'd actually be located on my property because I actually live right before the Sleeping Giant. Like those pictures I was showing you, that's where I live. So like we don't actually have to lease land or anything. It'd be right where, yeah. That's
pretty great.
Yeah.
Charge yourself rent.
Great presentation. I'll be eating there when I'm out there this summer, if it's up and running. I have maybe two quick questions. One is about payment methods. I frequent the camp as much as possible when time allows, and I don't bring a lot of cash with me because you're in campers, you're in tents. Have you thought about or looked at how things would work for debit or Visa or any of those types of things?
I know if you know about Karen's Country Kitchen, I know that she doesn't offer cash or debit anymore because the cost of that is really expensive, especially if you're only open as a seasonal business. So we could look into that because I know lots of people go in there with their debit cards saying, I want to eat, but then they can't because they don't actually have cash on them. So we could potentially look into having the option there for debit and credit and that.
Just find a good banker. I'll help you with that.
And then my other question was more of a comment as well. Great job on the research. It looks like you put a lot of effort into finding your numbers. Where did you find your numbers for your target market, the numbers going out to the campsites? And
target market, I know like the park manager of Sleeping Giant, so I just asked her to look them up, and then she gave me like the big numbers of the people that are going out to the park.
Right to the source.
Thanks, Lexi. I really like the rural aspect because we hear a lot of ideas in the city, but it's great that you can use the local producers within, I think you said, a 20-click radius. So love the rural aspect. What about supervision of people handling the food? Are you prepared for a visit by the health authorities?
In my, when we first hired people, we were gonna get them, go to a food and safety course to get them trained so they know what the food and safety issues are and make sure they're good with that. And then we'd have to have someone from health and the health unit come out and check out our food.
As far as the access and the numbers that look really positive, a bad weather season can hurt.
Yeah.
And road work, hopefully the big highway is pretty well done where the turnoff is, but are you aware of anything coming up that could cause you grief in the first couple of years?
For past like Highway 587, there's no road construction. And then the highway up, the main highway, I'm pretty sure most of the construction will be done at the end of this summer. So I don't know of any further construction that is happening.
Okay. And my last question, I know when I go to my cottage, I may differ a bit, but my husband just barrels out there and he's got a steak he wants to get ready. But I'm thinking when we're packing up and heading out, that might be a time where you're putting away your foodstuffs, clearing out the fridge. That might be a time on the Sunday. Now, I don't know if you've looked into that, but I saw that you close at 5 on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. So I can't answer it for you, but perhaps you'd want to think about that one.
Okay.
Hi, Lexi.
Hello.
Great presentation. I think it's a great idea. I've never been to the Sleeping Giant Park. I'm sorry. So I will go, and I will have a burger. I grew up in a family business with meats and everything else. The handling of the meat is a lot of fun. There's rules and regulations now, so just make sure that you think of those things first, because the liabilities that happen, they're not so much fun.
Yeah.
But great idea and good job.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take about a 10-minute break, and thank you for being our audience, for those of you who came.